They live in Mediterranean lands. The lives of many of them, with their different customs, cultures, and history, are shaped in similar ways by the Mediterranean Sea. These people live in a Mediterranean climate, mild winters when most of the rains come, and hot, dry summers. It's a region of many mountains and hills. Hills and the sea combine with a fair, warm climate to give the Mediterranean its individuality and a certain charm. We'll see how the Mediterranean climate affects life, first in European countries in this part of the world. Even though France, like most of the countries of Europe, is an industrial nation, the Mediterranean climate affects an important part of life there, farming. Southern France borders the Mediterranean. This is a subtropical region where palm trees and citrus fruits grow. The mild winters make it possible to grow early maturing vegetables and subtropical fruits. These flowers are used to make perfume. It's one of France's chief exports. Many farmers in southwestern France specialize in growing grapes. Most of the grapes are used to make wine, another important French product. Travelers from all over the world enjoy the warm climate and the beautiful beaches on the shores of the Mediterranean. The Pyrenees Mountains separate France from Spain. Spain occupies 4/5 of the Iberian Peninsula. Not all of Spain has the Mediterranean climate, only the southern and eastern parts. Olive groves extend over much of the land here. Agriculture is the leading industry in Spain. It is in Portugal, too. Both Portugal and Spain have built large irrigation projects to save water from the winter rains. Summer, the season of maximum growth, is also the season of minimum rainfall here. The dry, mild Mediterranean summer is ideal for the growth of olives. Harvest time begins in September or October and continues for several months. Olives are one of Spain's leading overseas exports. Thousands of people work in Spain's olive industry. So most of the people make their living from the land, in Spain and in Portugal. These nations occupy one of the 3 peninsulas on the northern shore of the Mediterranean Sea. You may have heard the expression, sunny Italy. Well, southern Italy is sunny for much of the year. Italy's mild and rainy winters are fine for growing wheat. In early summer, the wheat is harvested. These sacks of grain are going to a mill to be ground into flour. In Italy, flour is usually used to make a kind of dough they call pasta. Pasta can take many forms. Noodles, macaroni, and spaghetti. Another crop that's as important in Italy as it is in Spain and Portugal is grapes. Grapes can be eaten fresh, dried into raisins, or pressed, and the juice made into wine. Whole families will work together harvesting their grape crop by hand. How well families live often depends on how good their grape harvest is. We saw olive groves in Spain and Portugal. We see them again in Italy. In Italy, as in Spain, olives are picked by hand. When the harvest is over, the olives are sent to nearby factories. Here they may be put into jars and sold in many different parts of the world. Some will go into huge presses and the oil squeezed out. Olive oil is a common product in Mediterranean lands. In Greece, for example, you can see some of the different ways that people use olive oil. It's used for cooking. These beans were cooked in olive oil. It's also used as a salad dressing, along with lemon juice. Lemons are another common Mediterranean crop. The milk is cow's milk, but the cheese wasn't made from cow's milk. It's made from the milk of goats. Many goats are raised in Greece, along with sheep. Sheep provide both meat and wool for the people of Greece. In Italy and in Greece, we saw some of the crops and some of the ways people live and work. On the eastern side of the Mediterranean, there are more lands with Mediterranean climates. These lands include Syria, Lebanon, and Israel. As you would expect, the climate in Israel's long and narrow sandy coastal plain is typical of Mediterranean lands. Mild, rainy winters, dry summers, and that means irrigation. In the hill country, earth terraces hold back rainwater and soil. You find terraces in many Mediterranean lands, and you find citrus fruits here too. Oranges are an important crop in Israel. Many citrus fruits are raised on the coastal plain. Citrus fruits are Israel's leading agricultural product and chief export. In the hill region, there are grapes and olives, peaches, and other familiar fruits. Many people come to Israel as tourists. Tourism is one of the important activities in most Mediterranean lands. In African countries, on the south side of the Mediterranean, we again find hills and mountains. In the mountains, sheep and goats are grazing, as we saw in Greece. These flocks are in Morocco, and these shepherds are Arabs. Many Arabs live in Mediterranean North Africa. When the weather is very dry and grass is scarce, the goats sometimes climb small trees and eat their leaves. The date palm is one kind of tree that's found in hot parts of Mediterranean lands. Dates are vital food for the people of North Africa and not common in other Mediterranean lands. But here's a kind of tree we've seen before in Spain, Italy, and Greece, an olive tree. Olives and other crops grown here in North Africa are often sent to bazaars. A bazaar is a marketplace. Many Africans make their living selling citrus fruits, common here as they are in the other Mediterranean lands. Some large cities have developed at good harbor sites on the African side of the Mediterranean, but for the most part, the Mediterranean has the greatest effect on agricultural activities. The Mediterranean is not the only region in the world where there are Mediterranean-type climates. In the United States, in Southern California, the geography of the land produces many elements of life we've seen around the Mediterranean. Here, citrus fruits grow well and the climate is generally moderate. In areas where rainfall is not sufficient, irrigation is used. In all the regions we've seen, the Mediterranean climate is especially important to farmers. They grow crops during the wet winter and spring and harvest them in the dry summer. They raise sheep and goats. Their homes are built for seasons that are cool and wet and hot and dry. Agricultural workers of the Mediterranean lands. All very different people, but the mild winters and hot, dry summers make their lives very much alike.